SB19 made history again. They officially signed with the United Talent Agency, or UTA. This isn't just another impressive badge of honor or a viral social media announcement to celebrate. This is a massive structural shift. By entering the roster of one of Hollywood's most elite powerhouse agencies, the boys are explicitly laying down the foundation for global expansion. Naturally, one of the most common questions asked is, can UTA help SB19 get a Grammy nomination, given that the Grammys just opened a new category specifically for Asians? And the answer is yes, they can help. But it's going to take more than UTA. There are a lot of things that need to come together, because as big as this is just the beginning. The signing with UTA is just the beginning. Whether or not the foundation builds a global kingdom will actually depend on what happens after the signing. And 18s can absolutely help. If you think that your location limits your impact, no. Even if you are sitting right there in the Philippines, you can absolutely move the needle on their Western campaign. But to understand how we can help them conquer the next level, we need to look past the fandom hype and dive straight into how the global entertainment industry actually works. And that's what I'm here for. I hope I can help shed some light. Let's get started. Let's first understand who UTA is. They were founded in 1991 and based in Beverly Hills, California. It is recognized as one of Hollywood's big four elite talent agencies alongside CAA, WME, and UTA's consolidated peers. They don't just book gigs, they dictate what media gets funded, which artists headline stadiums, and which IPs command global brand partnership. To put their massive scale into perspective, UTA represents cross industry megastars like Bad Bunny, Halsey, Cardi B, and others. So, why is it a big deal to get signed? Well, Hollywood agencies will not operate on charity, sentiment, or temporary trends. They are corporate machines. UTA will never sign an artist unless they are fiercely confident that the artist is highly marketable and capable of generating millions of dollars in the Western and global markets. But adding Pablo, Josh, Stel, Ken, and Justin to their roster, UTA is looking at SB19's history making stats, their 1 billion plus career streams, their upcoming historic slot at Lollapalooza 2026 as their first homegrown Filipino act, their self funded and self organized world tour, and unprecedented cultural influence in their own country. UTA is acknowledging that even with little funding, SB19 has been able to do something no other Filipino act has been able to do before. And what UTA is looking at is their potential. What else can SB19 do with some backing? To fully grasp SB19's operational structure in the US now, it is critical to address their internal corporate ecosystem. SB19 is famously self managed under their own company, 1Z Entertainment. With UTA entering the picture, a line has been drawn between where 1Z Entertainment's responsibilities end and where UTA's begin. In Western entertainment law, particularly under California Talent Agencies Act, the roles of an agent and a manager are strictly legally distinct. UTA will secure the contracts, maximize the pay, and open doors to elite rooms. 1Z Entertainment will manage the artist's mental health, styling, scheduling, creative direction, and overall long-term branding. So yes, 1Z Entertainment cannot secure projects or any paid gigs for SB19 in the US from here on. But is this a win for SB19? Why can't 1Z Entertainment just become their agent and their manager? Well, it is a win because 1Z Entertainment will retain 100% of the creative and operational control over their careers. UTA does not own them, nor can they dictate their musical direction. But UTA has the Western contacts. When they call, people answer. UTA acts as the powerful execution arm that takes onesies' grand vision and enforces them legally and commercially in international territories. The agents are actually called the 10 percenters in Hollywood. In mainstream Hollywood parlance, talent agents are universally referred to as 10 percenters. This is due to the strict industry standard compensation model. Agents do not get an upfront salary or a monthly salary from the artist. Instead, they take a flat 10% commission from the gross earnings of the contract that they directly procure or negotiate, such as international concert tours or global streaming synchronization licensing or American brand endorsements. This economic model aligns UTA's financial interest directly with SB19's success. If SB19 doesn't make money in the West, then UTA doesn't make money. So it ensures that the agency is actively and aggressively pitching the group for top tier opportunities rather than letting them sit idle on a roster. Does joining UTA mean it will be easier for SB19 to collaborate with other global artists? Well, it is not a guarantee, but it will significantly increase their chances. When artists share the same agency, they call this the internal packaging, the friction of corporate red tape drops dramatically. If SB19 wants to pitch a collaboration or a joint tour with a fellow artist on the roster, Onesie Entertainment doesn't have to blind pitch a cold email to foreign companies. Instead, SB19's dedicated UTA agent can simply walk down the hall or shoot an international message to the agent representing another artist. Now, what about the publicist? UTA secures work for SB19, but Miller PR is the engine driving their visibility. For an Asian act breaking into the highly competitive Western market, a powerhouse, boots on the ground American PR firm isn't just an addition to the team, it is an ultimate bridge to the general population. Mainstream Americans and industry gatekeepers don't automatically monitor overseas charts. A publicist's entire job is to force them to look. Publicists have direct, daily lines of communication with talent bookers for major TV shows like The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, The Late Night Show with Stephen Colbert, or Good Morning America. They pitch the artist's story, skill, and visual appeal to secure those high visibility live performances that introduced an Asian act directly to millions of casual American households. Publicists also coordinate regional and national press circuits. They place the group in front of influential radio DJs and programmers like iHeartRadio or SiriusXM for in studio interviews and pitch editors at definitive music publications such as Rolling Stone, Billboard, and Vogue to secure full page features and cultural deep dives. The biggest hurdle for foreign artists in the US is overcoming the niche label. American media can be notoriously insular, but a premier West Coast PR firm like Miller PR knows exactly how to translate SB19's massive Southeast Asian success into a language that Western media executives understand. They will not just send out emails saying, oh, SB19 is talented or they are fun. They will curate a high stakes narrative, framing the boys as historic or barrier breaking icons. Like I can talk about the first being SB19 being the first homegrown Filipino act to play in Lollapalooza, how they managed to sell out a world tour without the backing of a big company, and they can actually coordinate mass, and they should coordinate massive press pushes around milestone moments like their Global Spin Live event at the Grammy Museum. They control the public narrative, they can manage regional media relations, and they can build real, lasting cultural awareness in the West. Well, the beauty of the modern music industry is that physical location is no longer a barrier to international impact. So even if you're in Manila or Cebu or Davao, Your digital behavior can actively move the needle for SB19's Western campaigns. But breaking into this highly competitive Western market requires a shift from standard local streaming loops to strategic, high substance cultural diplomacy. There are a lot of people advocating the use of VPN or virtual private networks to artificially bump audio streams on Western charts like Billboard Hot 100. But major streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music have deployed strict algorithms that flag and filter out this behavior, occasionally penalizing an artist's organic numbers. I can't, in good conscience, recommend it. Instead, I would just recommend utilizing your VPN ethically for targeted visibility. So, how? Turn on a reputable US based VPN when posting updates, tagging media outlets, or utilizing global hashtags on platforms like X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and others. This pushes your high engagement posts directly into the algorithmic feeds of American audiences, music curators, and West Coast entertainment journalists who monitor local tech clusters. Next, translations with cultural context. When BTS broke into the American market, the undisputed catalysts were dedicated fan translators who didn't just translate Korean words into English, but unpacked the deep cultural, societal, and historical nuances embedded within the lyrics. Western music critics and fans deeply appreciate intellectual substance and lyrical layers. When discussing tracks like Gento or What, or their newest records, write out comprehensive breakdowns explaining the Filipino cultural idioms, localized struggles, and linguistic cleverness behind the lyrics. Bridging this cultural gap turns casual Western listeners into fiercely loyal, long term fans who respect P pop as an art form rather than a novelty. Next, curate high skill performance highlights. SB19's greatest competitive advantage on the global stage is their raw, uncompromising skill, specifically their flawless, stable vocals while executing complex choreography. When creating or sharing short form video content on TikTok, Reels, or YouTube Shorts, ruthlessly prioritize substance and skill. While edits showing how funny and charming or chaotic the members are in interviews are beloved within the fandom, they are not what the Western music journalists or industry executives look for when scout testing a foreign act. Focus heavily on clean, high definition vocal stabs, zero track a cappella moments, and synchronized dance breaks. Let their professionalism be the first thing the West sees. Next, translate all media communication to English. Filipinos are globally recognized as exceptional English speakers, frequently demonstrating a stronger command of formal and conversational grammar than native speakers themselves. When replying to American media threads, tagging radio DJs, or leaving comments on Western music blogs, default entirely to English. With integrated AI translation tools readily available, ensuring your communication is highly polished and accessible eliminates any friction for curious Western onlookers. Next, create a sizzle reel and politely pitch to US media. When reaching out to Western journalists, aggressive spamming or demanding coverage yields immediate blocks. Cultivate an environment of extreme politeness and professional presentation. One of the best ways to pitch them is by creating and sharing a fan made sizzle reel. So, what is a sizzle reel? In Hollywood and the global media industry, actually, a sizzle reel, also known as the public relations video or pitch tape, is a fast paced, highly stylized 60 to 90 seconds video montage that combines an artist's absolute best visual moments, career milestones, and high impact audio clips. It acts as a visual resume or an elevator pitch designed to immediately grab an editor's attention, and make them say, wow, who is this group? Put together a short cinematic video package that opens with a massive achievement, like the first homegrown Filipino act to play Lollapalooza, 1 billion streams on Spotify, flashes high skill vocal clips, shows a glimpse of their biggest concert crowd, and ends with a polite call to action. Use this video to kindly pitch music writers, stating, "We highly admire your coverage on global music trends and believe SB19's unique journey would make an incredible feature for your readers. Here is a brief look at their work." Next, plant the seed via US radio requests. Breaking into American FM radio is notoriously difficult to strict corporate programming blocks, and you may not see immediate overnight results. But don't be discouraged. We've got to start somewhere. Systematically tag major American syndicates such as iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, Hits 1, and prominent West Coast and East Coast pop stations requesting their international tracks. There are also some websites you can go to where you can submit requests. Consistent, polite weekly requests plant a commercial seed. It alerts programming directors that there is an organic, high volume demand brewing in the background, making them significantly more receptive to the promotional pitches that SB19 new agents at UTA will be making on the ground. So, who is primarily responsible in submitting them for the Grammys? It is the label. And SB19's label is 1Z Entertainment. That is them as well. But they do have a distribution deal with Sony Music. And depending on the kind of relationship that they have, Sony can help. And they absolutely need help from someone from a label or organization that actually has a huge pool or network within the voting uh, organization, within the Grammys. So their publicist, their label, Onesie Entertainment, and then depending on the relationship that they have with Sony Entertainment, then those three should come together. UTA can help as well, but that is not their primary job. Do I think they have a chance? Yeah, I think they have a chance. But as I've said, they need Sony Music. So if Sony Music helps, then that will actually spell the difference. I think they will help. I think Sony Music, though, has other talents, other artists from other Asian countries. But SB19 is one of the few Asian artists from Asia that are really making huge leaps in the Western market without any assistance from any big label or organization. So that's kind of hard to ignore just from the numbers. However, the thing about this category, the Asian pop music category, Asian pop performance, it is a technical category. So Grammys would usually release the guidelines on what the voters should be looking at. And for this category, it's more technical. So mixing, sound engineering, the quality of the voices itself. There's not a lot of emphasis on the substance of the music. Now, will the Grammy voters ignore that completely? I don't think so. These are human beings. The voters are human beings. So they do have biases that is going to play a part in how they're going to be voting. So emphasizing that will actually really help. But as I've said, it's not the priority for the Grammys. Now, there are certain other rules, like when they campaign, because they do need help in campaigning. When they campaign for SB19, they cannot talk about the charts or the sold out concerts. It has to be about the technical merit of the song. Can 18 helps? Can 18 help? Absolutely. And I've already laid that out in the video. There are certain things that you shouldn't be doing, or at least a voting member shouldn't be doing, like when they prepare their campaign materials, they shouldn't actually be mentioning the streams or, as I've said, the sales, the charts. They should be emphasizing the quality of the song. But 18s aren't voting members, so you kind of have a little bit more freedom. But finding the voting members, making sure that you're doing it professionally, doing the materials professionally, emphasizing the right things. Those are the things that will be crucial. Okay, thank you for staying with me. Thank you for watching. If you can, please visit the online magazine, asianentertainmentandculture.com. We are trying to boost that, the online magazine, so that we can help more artists from Asia and artworks from Asia, movies, TV shows, songs, everything to be promoted in the West. If you want to help, you can also donate to the online magazine. The QR code should be on your screen right now. I also do more short form content on TikTok, IG, X, Facebook, YouTube Shorts. So if you want, follow me there as well. And you can also request for content. Thank you so much. Please like the video. I do have a Patreon community just in case you want to help. I also have YouTube membership. So you can, if you want, or if you're capable of helping, please help. Thank you. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification button. But the most important thing is for you to share a link to the channel or any of our videos. The more links there are out there, the more the algorithm is going to recommend us. Thank you so much. Till next time.